Hi, I'm Sarah from Catch Media Simulation. We all know that the value of emergency exercises is preparation. If you have encountered something before, it's not so daunting when it happens again. Also, if you've worked out a strategy, a working plan that can be applied automatically to an incident, it boosts confidence and resourcefulness. The value of preparing in advance to deal with the media is that when it happens for real, you can be totally focused on how to use the media to maximize your message. Even though your trained personnel will be trying to deal with a crisis and covering all bases, and they'll also naturally be thinking how to use the media to inform the public, how to head off any speculation, and how to make it clear that responding personnel are doing the best they can, as fast as they can, while thinking about every other aspect of the task at hand. The media is your tool to get that message across, and if handled correctly, will be an important asset in any crisis response toolbox. I know the last thing anyone wants to do when trying to mitigate a disaster is to have to explain what's happening at every step. But in this social media age, any vacuum of information, even for a short time, will be filled with speculation and potentially damaging speculation. While reacting to a crisis, it's imperative that thought is given to how to find the positives in what's happening, to alleviate the negativity of the event. When operatives at all levels within an organization are comfortable with interacting with the media, ideas and initiatives may come from all angles. We had an event while I was in Afghanistan, following 2 years of intensive pre-deployment media training at all levels of the military, from private to brigadier. An Afghan soldier had shot dead 2 British officers in their beds in a forward operating base and fired a rocket-propelled grenade into the operations room, killing more soldiers. The scenes were horrendous, and the automatic reaction, given the location of where it had happened, was just to say nothing and keep the massacre a complete secret. But 2 British private soldiers heard an Afghan interpreter telephoning a relative to tell them what had happened, and immediately realized that news of the killings would be funneled through to the Afghan media and then into the wider world. They knew to tell their superiors, who realized that honest, straightforward information had to be delivered to the Western media, and quickly. It was ascertained that the alleged perpetrator, who'd fled the camp, was a new arrival to the contingent of Afghan soldiers which had been working closely with their British counterparts for months. The Afghan brigadier was called to the base to reinforce the benefit of that collaboration between Afghan and British soldiers. Other Afghan soldiers were really quite bewildered by what had happened, and they spoke on camera to express their dismay. And there was footage of Afghans and Brits consoling each other, and that was circulated in the media too. Across Afghanistan, in camps where British and Afghan soldiers were working together, British commanders realized that this incident could ruin all the positive collaboration that was happening under their watch. So they gave interviews to their media contacts saying how much emphasis they were putting on equality and cooperation, and that this was a tragic one-off and not indicative of Afghan-British relations in general. At the time, the British military had a nascent blogging platform, and Marines, soldiers, sailors, and airmen all began to write about their dismay at what had happened, but also their belief that it could not, would not happen among their men. That week, there was to be the first ever Afghan-led operation against the Taliban in Helmand. Combat camera teams, along with hastily assembled embedded media, filmed that successful operation. And the pictures were then carried by all major media outlets because it was topical and relevant. By the end of the week, after that horrific start, the news from Afghanistan was overwhelmingly positive rather than negative, despite the British deaths. But more importantly, personnel at every level of the organization had independently thought, what can we do to help with the perception of this? And created a groundswell of positive coverage. I was the person tasked with mitigating this disaster on the ground, but it was the media-trained military personnel who had the foresight to use every method at their disposal to counter it. That's the benefit of impregnating the value of engaging with the media into every operative in an organization and giving them the training in how to do it and the space and confidence to practice it. That then does allow an incident commander to focus only on the task at hand, knowing that others will make sure the best message is distilled to the wider audience. This is why media matters and why catch media simulation is essential for any pre-crisis training. If you would like your members of your organization to be comfortable with interacting with the media and to help with the message that is sent out during a crisis, have a look at catchmediasimulation.com. We're here to help.